just get a biker wave on a RZR.
What's up guys, welcome back to Pat Outdoors. Today we're going to be hopping back on the ultimate RZR SX500 project. I'm going to be throwing on a new set of Supermoto wheels and tires and installing new suspension front and rear along with a couple other items. Hopefully I can get this bike done in time to join a group ride later this afternoon. It's currently all torn apart right now because I had this thing set up as a snow bike during the winter time, and then I got kind of distracted with my ETM RTR and my 2DO project, but we're gonna get this thing back on the road today. What I'm gonna keep on there is this Electron Co the one motor, along with this Noisy Cricket controller. I also have an Amorge 44 amp hour battery pack in there that's rated for 530 amp peak, 350 continuous, so this thing makes a ton of power. I also have a set of ENC brakes and swing arm extensions, but we're gonna be changing everything else. First, we're gonna be installing this new ETM V2 hydraulic fork kit by Electron Co. What I really like about this is it comes with these inserts that go into the original head tube bearings. So it makes it super easy to install and it's true bolt-on. Stem bolt is a 14 millimeter, and then the nut for the bottom is a 17. This handlebar that I installed is not the one that came with the fork though. I'm using a Protaper one because I just like it to be slightly wider. It's about 3 inches wider than the ENC one overall. It just makes the bike a little bit less cramped for an adult rider. I decided to go with a 12-inch Supermoto set by Electron Co because I actually want to make this bike look just a little bit bigger and raise the seat height. I've just gotten used to riding slightly larger bikes like my ETM or even my Talarias. It came with the 2 rotors, front and rear, hub adapter for the rear sprocket, caliper bracket for the extended swing arm kit, hardware for the rotors, spacers for the rear wheel, hardware for the rear hub adapter, and a spacer guide. If you're interested in checking out any of these items that we're using for this project, I'll have everything linked in the description below. You can also get yourself 5% off Electron Co products by using discount code PATOutdoors5. Looks like I'm gonna have to go with a different caliper bracket. I think the one I have on this bike right now is meant for 160 mil, and these rotors might be 180. So while I try to figure this out, let's hop back onto the rear suspension. I'm going to be replacing this stock shock with one from Ride or Die. This one's a hydraulic one with rebound adjustment here at the bottom. Looks like it's at least 2 or 3 inches longer than the stock one, so I'm not sure how much this is going to raise the bike, but we'll find out. Looks like I'm going to have to add at least 1 washer per side to make sure that there's no play when I have it installed on the frame and the swing arm. Well, that's definitely gonna raise the seat height at least 3 inches. Another thing that I'm gonna do to make this razor a little bit more adult friendly is put on a set of dropper pegs. These are also from Ride or Die. It's just gonna increase the distance between where you put your feet and where you sit on the bike, just to make it feel a little bit less cramped for an adult rider. Looks like it's gonna drop the peg height a solid 3 inches. And they came pre-assembled like this, ready to install, and also came with a bunch of extra pins in case you lose these in the future. Wow, look at that. It's got like an insert for the frame, so it's not gonna shift around on you. You just need a 12 and a 13. That is pretty slick. You should definitely make the bike feel like a slightly larger bike. If you're interested in checking out Ride or Die's products, I'll have a link to their website in the description. And you can also get yourself 5% off using discount code PATOutdoors.
The new caliper bracket that they provided looks like it positions the caliper slightly further away from the swing arm, so it'll accommodate for a larger rotor. I'm not going to tighten this just yet. I want to keep this somewhat loose so we can slide the rear wheel back and forth when we're doing the chain tension adjustment. The shorter spacer that was provided is going to go on the side where the caliper bracket is, and then the longer one goes on the sprocket side. Same thing with the rear axle. I'm not going to torque it down yet until we have the chain tension adjusted. I'm going to fine tune the position of the caliper on the bracket very last, once I have everything else tightened up, just to make sure that there's no clearance or rubbing issues. Want to make sure that you're adjusting the axle blocks evenly on both sides, just to make sure that the wheel is tracking perfectly straight before you torque everything down. Chain tension and axle positioning is all good, though I seem to have an issue with the caliper bracket making contact with the bolts for the rotor. So I'm definitely gonna have to shave this down a little bit so it doesn't make contact with the rotor when the rear wheel is spinning. Yeah, it's definitely starting to look like a much larger bike overall in comparison to a regular razor. Before we continue, if you're enjoying today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you like this kind of content and want to see more of these type of projects, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn your bell notification on. I just got this mountain bike brake bracket from Amazon. It's meant for a 203 front rotor, 180 rear. Not actually sure if this is going to work, but it seems like it's going to reposition the caliper just the right amount of distance from the rotor, so let's find out. Huh, that actually seems to be the perfect fit caliper for this application.
It's actually not that much longer. It's maybe about an inch longer than the stock one. Hopefully it's long enough. This is just a universal kickstand that I got from Amazon. I think it was like 20 or 30 bucks. I'm gonna be adding some washers in between the kickstand and the swing arm, just to make sure that it fits nice and snug. Damn, I underestimated how long the kickstand needed to be. It's like still at least 2 inches shorter than what I need. So I'm gonna have to find a different solution for that. For the stock SX500 fender to fit properly on this ENC fork, I'm definitely gonna have to trim down these 3 brackets and drill out this hole a little bit bigger for the stem bolt to fit through it. I think that's actually gonna raise the fender like a solid half an inch or so. I was also having an issue previously with the bottom of the fender rubbing against my RSF wheels whenever my front suspension would compress. And then now that we got a bigger wheel set, I can see that potentially being more of an issue. So I'm gonna trim this down a little more as well. That actually didn't turn out too bad. And this vinyl's been very durable. I've been able to pull it back and put it back in place, heat it up, and it hasn't lost adhesion. Shout out to JC Graphics for making some quality stuff. You know, I got a couple of these straps from Ride or Die when I got the fork parts for the Tudio, and I couldn't figure out what it was for, but I think I figured out good use for it though. Before I reinstall the body back on the bike, I actually kind of want to reshape it a little bit. I've seen quite a few SX500s out there that have this whole section cut off completely, and I think it actually looks a lot sleeker and a little bit less of a dirt bike than it currently does. And I kind of want this bike to look a little bit more incognito since I ride it mostly on the street and neighborhood trails. You know, what's crazy is I went like a whole 2 years without a Dremel, but I finally bought one. I've been doing majority of my cutting with a grinder, which is crazy for the smaller stuff because I've refused to spend $100 on a Dremel, but yet I buy all these upgrades for my bike. But hopefully we can do a cleaner job with all the cutting. Yeah, definitely a much cleaner cut in comparison to a whole angle grinder. So I'm gonna hit the edge with some 400 just to smoothen it out a little bit more. That actually came out pretty clean. Second time around went a little bit cleaner. Kind of got the hang of the Dremel now. It's a shame I didn't get to finish this in time for the group ride, but I actually ended up riding one of my buddy Elmer's Razor, his RSF 650, which is also another 72 volt build with a 11 kilowatt setup from Electron Co. And that thing was so much fun. It went like 59 miles per hour with half charge. We might have to run in the near future. I have hit 66 miles per hour on this bike with a set of RSF wheels. The gearing, I'm suspecting, is going to be way too tall with this new wheel set. So, you know what? Let's actually take it out and see how it rides.
So I've actually got a little bit of an announcement to make. This is probably going to be one of the last times you're going to see me riding in this neighborhood. I'm actually moving in the next week or so. Moving into a house with a much larger garage, so we have more space to do these type of projects. First thing I noticed hopping on this bike is how tall it is in comparison to how it was before and how much lower my knees are. Like, look at that. There's so much more space on this bike. But also the gearing is not as aggressive. It's definitely taller. Damn it, Jeep. So we're just going uphill there and we hit 61 miles per hour. So this thing's definitely still got the juice. So I am gonna play with the gearing a little bit more before I try to do some top off runs or anything. Before it starts storming out, let's give it a run. God damn it. There's always a bunch of cars. Overall though, I mean, it rides a lot smoother with the Supermotos on there. It doesn't feel too heavy. I thought it was gonna lose a lot of its agility, but it still feels very, very agile. Power set to 23.5 horsepower, 400 phase amps. Throttle's most aggressive, and speed is capped at 69 miles per hour. Did I just get a biker wave on a razor? We're gonna be experimenting with some gearing before we start actually riding this bike pretty aggressively. But if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you like this kind of content, you want to keep up with some more of my projects, such as this Razor SX500 Ultimate Supermoto build, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn your bell notification on. But this is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching.
Made it inside right before the storm.